Sometimes the old ways are the best. Welcome to the Blairstown Township Committee meeting for Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. Can we have an opening roll call, Kristen?
Mr. McAtora is going to be absent. Mr. Orcott.
Here.
Mrs. Van Valkenburg. Mrs. Waldron is also going to be absent. Mayor Moorhead.
Here. Can we please rise for the salute of our flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this public meeting through a legal notice published in the New Jersey Herald and the Star Ledger following the Township's annual reorganization meeting, at which the 2022 meeting schedule was adopted. For those of you who have not joined us in a few meetings, we now have our public comments right up front, so you don't have to sit here through all the other stuff, be it agenda items or non-agenda items. The first 5 minutes of the meeting, first I should say you're limited to 5 minutes, but the first part of the meeting is up to you, the public. Who would like to speak? I see some. It doesn't matter who goes first, and we don't bite, I promise you.
No, really. But you do have to come up here.
Yeah, you do have to come up here and use the microphone so we can hear you and record you. And I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun.
I'm afraid of cameras.
Don't worry, it can't.
Your camera's got the back. So
Yeah.
I'm going to sit this way.
Could you just pull that microphone down to you a little bit there?
I can talk loud, Charlie.
Okay. Give us your name and your address.
It's Lisa Stampone. It's 21 Main Street, Apartment 3, Blairstown, New Jersey. I'm asking about the dog park. I have heard so many rumors and so many different things about this dog park, what's going on with it. And I figured I would come and find out for myself.
All right.
What are we doing? What are you doing with it?
You came to the right place.
Okay.
The dog park is going to be free from now on.
Okay.
And anyone can use it as long as they have a Blairstown dog license on their dog, which also means the dog has been vaccinated for rabies.
Okay.
And we are setting up a sort of a fee system for out of town and out of state people that want to use it, because we do have a lot of people coming in from other towns and a couple from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because I meet a lot of them. I mean, because I take my 1.5-year-old Sheltie who has a lot of energy, and I need that dog park.
No, that's not going anywhere.
Okay, I've heard that there's another one going to be opening up, and that there's the potential that this one's going to go away.
Nope.
I just want to make sure that...
No, it is all staying. If anything, we're making it better, because for you guys in the village, we're looking to make that pocket park on East Ave a little dog park.
Okay.
Maybe not a lot of room for a Sheltie to really get up to speed, but it'll be a nice place to go and exercise the dogs.
As long as that one is going to stay there.
That is going to be right there.
Because he needs to run.
No, whatever you've heard, forget. Come to us. We'll tell you.
Okay. All right. That's really my only concern, is that that one is going to remain there. I don't even care about paying a fee.
No, the only reason there was
because it's worth it to me.
Sure, there was a fee though, because it was a private entity that was doing it, and they had to provide insurance, and they only used the fee to cover the insurance.
Oh, I don't care. I pay $100 a year for it.
I know.
It's worth it. There was something else, and now I can't think of.
You wanted to know who will run it from now on.
Well, yeah, the town's going to run it from now on.
Yes.
Right?
And it'll fall under recreation.
Okay.
So if our clerk Kristen can't help you, then Pat Sagan in recreation can.
Okay. And the only one other concern is how you say, there's people that come there now. Like I was there yesterday or the day before, and there was a lady there from Stroudsburg. Very, very nice dog. But how are you going to regulate that? You're saying that people have to come here to get a special license, but so you know that they have the vaccinations and stuff. That's just one of my concerns, is that people just go there like you can't have somebody standing there.
Right. Well, they were doing that before too. It was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, which was always a concern of mine, is that people would just come.
Right.
And it's there for everyone, but you don't know if those people don't have their shots, those dog don't have
Right.
their shots, and then,
All right.
Go ahead.
I know there was supposed to be a lock put on there.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be, but which is a really good idea, but I just wondered how you're gonna regulate that, because,
And I think the lock would be left unlocked. I think the lock would disappear and a lot of other things. So if we're going to we're going to actually have an ordinance that will govern the dog park itself.
Okay.
That ordinance will be posted, and then our animal control officer is going to make trips there every now and then and make sure that a couple of times that someone gets a talking to from the animal control officer, I don't think they're going to be non-compliant.
I just was worried that the people were becoming that didn't have dog licenses in Blairstown, and that you don't know if they have the rabies shots or what they have.
Yeah, well, we're going to,
It's hard to do that because nobody's going to stand there.
Yeah, there's going to be more oversight.
Sometimes no one's there.
In the past, our animal control officer kind of looked the other way because it was being run by another private entity. So he's really going to take it under his wing, and we're kind of playing it by ear. But I think
I'm glad you're keeping it open. That's all I can say.
yeah, it's necessary.
And we kind of expect users such as yourself, we're going to help police it a little bit. I mean, if you see people not picking up after their dogs, or if you know somebody's from Stroudsburg, oh yeah. Now again, it's going to be wild. It's going to be open for the next couple of months until we get the ordinance tightened up and all the rules set. So it's kind of open, and we're not sweating that too much. But when it does get down,
that is very nice. Everyone the people from town, Blairstown that go there, it's nice.
I've been going over there talking to people myself, and I don't have a dog over there, but I've been talking to people and asking where they're from, and invariably it's somebody from out of town. So we're going to make a lot of money on that side of it.
Well, that's good.
Every animal there should have
And maybe we should put
a
some
license.
gravel in the entranceway so you don't get all muddy when you walk.
Well, that's part of the permit process for anybody outside of town. Well, anybody. Everybody has to have show rabies vaccine.
They have
license.
to have their license on them at the dog park.
That'll be part of the rules.
Yes.
It'll be
So, because I don't have mine on my dog.
As long as you have it on your persons, you should.
Oh, okay,
It's
you should
supposed
have
to
it.
be on the dog, and the animal control officer will tell you that. But as long as it's on your persons to show that you do have an updated, that will prove that you have an updated rabies for Blairstown.
All right, fair enough. That's it.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Don't worry.
Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Saves my sanity.
Exactly. All right. Who's next? Mike, do you have a report for us? You always seem to.
Let somebody else go first before me.
All right. Jeanette, come on up.
Ladies first.
Hello.
Name and address, please.
Jeanette Iorato, 2 Heller Hill Road. My comments are lengthy this evening. Tonight, I would like to make a few comments based on recent events. On Monday, February 28th, Committeewoman Joanne Van Valkenburg attended a Blairstown Enhancement Committee meeting. Mrs. Van Valkenburg did not attend the meeting as a member of the general public. She attended the meeting as a member of this government body and as an elected official of the people. In fact, it is my understanding that she is the alternate liaison to the BEC, with Mrs. Waldron being the primary. At this meeting, Mrs. Van Valkenburg spoke about the Paulina Dam project. When discussion centered around the beautification of the historic district, she was specifically asked what was being done about the quote-unquote red barn. Mrs. Van Valkenburg commented to the effect that she had a boot on the owner's neck and would not relent regardless of the owner's relationships with other members of this committee, which was followed by her raising her brow in a suggestive manner. Mrs. Van Valkenburg also made a comment about possibly taking the building from the owner through tax lien sale. She consistently used she and her, which could clearly be understood as referring to me, because the only other stakeholder of the property is a male. For those of you who don't know, the barn in question is the property located at 50 Route 94. I find it, and I believe we should all find it, disturbing and extremely concerning that an elected official, acting on behalf of this government body and in the commission of her liaison role, openly disparaged a citizen of this township and gloated about using the heavy hand of government to punish them. I contacted the BEC and requested a copy of the Zoom meeting, as their meetings now occur in person and Zoom. However, Caitlin with the BEC informed me that their meetings are not recorded. Initially, I was told by one meeting participant of Mrs. Van Valkenburg's comments. Today, I was informed by a second. For years, Mrs. Van Valkenburg has attempted to tarnish my reputation via Facebook posts and in-person discussions. However, on February 28th, she did so as a member of this government body. The politics of personal destruction must come to an end. The business of using a government position to target specific individuals within this township must not be allowed. I ask that the Township Committee publicly denounce this behavior and that Mrs. Van Valkenburg publicly apologize to me now for making these comments. Furthermore, the Blairstown Enhancement Committee is not a town-sanctioned committee. It is a private nonprofit organization established in 2015. Blairstown has dozens upon dozens of nonprofit organizations. Many of them are 50 to 100 years old, and none of them have a member of this township body as their liaison. I believe the liaison position to the BEC should be eliminated. According to their website, they were founded to, quote, help reverse the apparent decline of the Blairstown village, end quote. If citizens wish to make an impact, they can apply for consideration to serve on one of the township's many legitimate committees, and in this case, I would suggest they apply for the Main Street Committee. So in closing, I ask that the other members of this government body denounce this behavior. I ask that Mrs. Van Valkenburg herself apologize to me for making these comments, and this government body should completely eliminate the liaison position to the Blairstown Enhancement Committee. Thank you. Your turn.
It's pretty disturbing.
I was disturbed when I received a phone call from one person.
Suggestions.
Today, receiving the second phone call.
Go and listen to
Confirmed
the tape. It
confirmed
was
what I
taped.
was first told.
The meeting was taped. And I will not make any apology
According
to
to
you.
Caitlin, to the BEC,
At all.
they are not taped.
They were all there. So I think you have to go talk to the BEC and find out what I said and find out what I was asked. And I will not make an apology to you.
Well, what did you say?
I don't even remember. I know I was asked something about the red building. And what I did say is that the town should take it and demolish it. I absolutely did say that, no doubt, because that is how I feel. And we've had many complaints from people in the area.
You
about the
understand
building.
that there are over 50 properties in this township that are in equal...
I'm not going to discuss this with you.
Excuse me?
I am not discussing this.
No, you are going to discuss
No,
this to
I'm
me
not.
because you disparaged my reputation yet again, and you didn't do that, Joanne, as a member of the public, of the general public. You did it in the commission of your position of this government
I did not
body.
disparage anybody. I made a statement, and it's a true statement.
And you made a statement that I get away with things because of my relationships with other members of the committee, and you raised your brow in a suggestive manner.
I did?
You did.
Were you there?
Two
Were you
people
there?
have told me that
Were
you
you
did.
there?
I was not there.
Okay.
But
Well,
you
that's
were
enough.
there.
That's
And
enough.
you know how you behaved.
That's
And they are
enough.
in line with the comments you have made about me on Facebook, which is in writing.
I'm not going to get into it with you right now because we could go all meeting with this, okay? So, let it go.
I'm asking that the other members of the committee,
You better find out the facts before you say anything.
Right. I mean,
they don't have to denounce your comments. They should just denounce that no member of this government body should ever use their position to target a citizen, not just me. In
not
general,
targeting
that should be
anybody.
a standing rule here.
that
That
is,
includes on Facebook, and that includes your family members referring to me as a side piece of other elected
I am
officials of
not
this
going
government
to get
body.
into this,
None of it
Jeanette.
should be allowed to continue. None of it.
Not going to get into
None
this
of it.
here. You want to have a discussion, we'll have
Because
a
you are,
discussion.
you are looking at, if I were anyone else, I would not only be suing you, but I would be suing this township for not
Do whatever
stopping
you
you
have
from
to do.
behaving this way.
I will not apologize to you, ever.
You
Ever.
will never call me a
Ever.
side piece on Facebook
Ever.
again.
Ever.
And you should
Ever.
look at your own house before
Ever.
making such comments.
You better end it, you better end it now.
Would the Township
Okay.
Committee like to at least consider removing the liaison position from the BEC? We have Blairstown Rotary and the Blairstown Masons and even the Blairstown Museum. Moms Club, Garden Club, Seniors Club. Nobody has a liaison. but the BEC. And I think that was a misstep on part of this township committee. I do, and I should have spoke up in January when the assignments were given. But I think if they have a liaison from this government body, then every nonprofit should be entitled to that. And I don't know if you guys actually want to attend 50 some odd meetings a month, because we have a lot of active nonprofits.
Very good point. I think when we made our committee assignments this year, we thought we had a pretty good list. But and in all fairness to the BEC, they do a lot of good work for the town. But we do have, as you said, the Main Street Advisory Committee. And we made that up.
To see that more active.
Yeah, we made it pre-COVID, of course, and we did it. We did it before the one-way had taken place. You know, where our eyes were on Main Street, and you have a point. There's no reason why that isn't active right now.
Hold on. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if we want to take action tonight on that, or
I want to have a conversation with Dave. What's his last name? Paulson. I want to have a conversation with Dave about what occurred on the meeting, and why he allowed that to go on, by the way.
They also engaged in the conversation, so I'm not sure how forthcoming they would be. You may want to recommend that they do tape their meetings moving forward so they can be available.
Well, we've been told tonight that they do tape, that the meeting was taped.
Right.
And if it was taped and they told you it wasn't taped, that's not cool.
I have it in writing that they told me it was not taped.
Right.
They had a video going, so there was a video going.
okay.
They were online. So
All right.
I don't know.
Well, we appreciate
I
your
expect
comments.
that we will take action on this.
Okay. I will follow up at the next meeting then.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for, I know this is hard to bring this stuff forward, but thanks for doing
It's
that.
not hard. About 6,000 residents see it on Facebook.
Okay. Who's next? Henry?
I mean, we're pick it up. We can go now. That works.
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, you can go now. Yeah. You're only keeping Mike waiting. He's bigger than you, though. I got to tell you that.
And Mike's.
Hi, my name is Henry Dole. I live at 111 Heller Hill Road, Blairstown, New Jersey.
And I'm Gina Trish, 26 East Avenue, Blairstown.
We just had a couple questions regarding our
And so do we.
ride event, as well as we did not receive any follow-up email from the township after we reached out and submitted our paperwork.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
There's a process that goes through all the different departments to fill out different sections. And actually, I just received the last bit yesterday and was going to discuss it today with the committee because there was some things that did come up.
Oh, I was just more concerned on making sure you got the
Oh,
information.
no, we got it. I do apologize.
We did
yeah.
not receive any.
Oh, really? I didn't say that I got it? I do apologize.
Did not receive any form of response. That's what I was more concerned about.
I do apologize for that. I usually do
I was
email
just trying to
back.
make sure that we got everything submitted.
We're good.
Yeah, we had just heard word of mouth that it was going to be on the agenda.
All right, so it's wiggling its way through the building. What do you have, Deputy? You said you
I
had
don't have
something.
anything. No,
I thought you had
There
something.
were some concerns about the application, right, Kristen?
Yes.
Kristen, because of some state guidelines, good old state, some new state guidelines about public events or something.
Vendors, we were just told on Monday that vendors now must be registered with the Division of Fire and Safety. So you have on your application that you're going to have vendors. So any vendor, that's including 4th of July, anything that BEC does now need to have, they must be registered with the Division of Fire and Safety.
When the interpretation of vendors is, it's not just food, but it's not food vendors, it's
He
any
said
vendor.
vendors, so any vendors.
So if
And then the other,
if I'm selling keychains or something, I have to.
and unfortunately, that
Like
is,
crap.
That's what it's, that was part of my reason that we were going to discuss this tonight.
We're really just talking about.
I think we need to look into that a little further.
Our goal was to have people from within the town who are part of the community be able to bring forth whether or not it's a craft, it's an art, because I know a lot of people from that I know who wanted to participate last year didn't get a chance to.
Right.
Especially with the turnout that we had last year, we wanted to. Our issue very quickly turned into we weren't sure if people were going to come to we don't have enough for these people to do.
Exactly.
So having like a craft station of people with their own wares seemed like a good idea, especially to put money back into Blairstown.
So we're talking about local people, right? Right? That-
Yes.
This is your.
Yeah.
Yeah, something for instead of people just sitting around waiting for us to talk.
Exactly.
And the pet competition did well too. But I mean, I get what you want.
We're not.
This is coming from the state. This was not something that came from us.
Can we get some sort of clarification on what a vendor
Yeah, I mean,
is?
the fire marshal was here Monday, so he left a note to Patty saying vendors must be, and she said all vendors, and he said all vendors.
Because, excuse me, we were just going to put a table and say, good luck. And just have them kind of figure it out.
I mean,
I will follow
here's where
up
it
and
gets
see
tricky. But Henry, here's where it gets tricky, right? If this was your event, because we're hosting it so you don't have to have insurance and do the police presence thing and all that crazy stuff and have extra costs involved, we're kind of hosting it.
Yeah.
So now, if we're officially hosting it, now it gets messy, right? If you have vendors, now we have to, we can't just go, oh, geez, that's.
You can't wait well, I'm going to abstain from getting involved in communicating with the fire marshal just simply because I work for the Department of Community Affairs.
I'll call them tomorrow and get clarification. I actually have his phone number and his email.
Okay.
But another thing on your application that I just need to clarify is that you're asking for police presence. Last year, we just had the police do a drive-by when they were on duty. They were not there.
it worked out. I mean, that.
Okay,
Right.
so you want the same as last year. You don't want us to call, okay.
Yeah, we didn't have any overtime incurred. It was just who was on duty. He came by and
We're
yeah.
talking about the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Whatever the verbiage
All right.
is.
Okay, and that was the only other concern. As long as the fire marshal thing works out, then that was the only other concern was the police officer.
Because what we saw last year was we saw a drive-by, like pulled up, a couple people, an officer walked through,
Yep.
and that was about it.
Yeah.
But that level of presence is exactly what we're looking for.
If we get into that part where we're just dedicated police officer, then you get that $1,000 event charge
Yes,
for the
right.
police officer. We're not.
That's not what we're looking for.
We weren't really unruly last year, were we?
I definitely do not.
This is a pretty full crowd
Yeah.
thing, so, and I expect it to be again this year, so. Okay, so we just have to work out the vendor issue then. Okay.
And I'll take care of that tomorrow.
So you'll reach out via email,
Yep.
let us know? Okay.
And if
He was
it's-
just here on Monday, so.
If the rules are too onerous,
Then we're
maybe
gonna
we
have to drop
maybe
the
we just
vendors.
don't have vendors.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe. Again, we're hosting, so.
Yeah.
If
we have
they
to-
say that, then there'll be no vendors.
Understood. Okay. And then if I could just, on a separate topic, because you had brought up the dog park and potentially doing a dog park and a pocket park on East Avenue. I'm just curious where that is in the phase of development and how that would work, because I just want to express that the children who live in town use that park. So if it's going to be expressly dedicated to dogs, then the kids won't really have anywhere to play in town. So maybe it's a multi-use, I don't know. I'm just curious what's the thinking there.
I guess it would be well, if it's fenced off, it will definitely be the Village Dog Park. That was our thinking. I mean, a lot of our, and this comes from a lot of complaints we've had in town of people not picking up after their dogs on Blair property, people using Main Street, and we've had 2 dog bite issues on Main Street already. Just having somewhere that people can go with their dogs instead of walking up and down Main Street would probably be a very good thing.
We were trying to get the dogs off Main Street, kind of,
Yeah.
the dogs interacting on Main Street. we weren't sure, and again, I talked to your mom today, and you know, that subject came up too, and she pushed back a bit against it.
Yeah, 'cause I remember putting.
But she had, and clearly, Trish and Patty both had ownership in that park, so to speak, you know, sweat equity, and getting,
Yes, I remember putting it in.
clearly understanding that.
Yes.
So, we haven't done anything yet. We did, I will say, the committee took action to move forward with the dog park. We haven't done anything yet. We're not looking to put up, you know, all new chain link fence or anything like that. We would put fence around the perimeter of the split rail fence, you know, just so it would contain, so people could unleash their dogs inside there.
Right.
I don't know. Do you think it could be dual use? Do you think that would work? If people police their dogs, certainly, right?
I think it could. I think the problem is, and just because I live across the street from it and I have children who've grown up in the town using it, they've used it for like soccer and baseball, so it's been like a nice grassy area for kids who don't have the yard.
You'd have to practice swinging and missing, though, in baseball, and that it's a pretty small.
You can, you can throw a ball and
Yeah.
in the park, and so I just don't want to lose that for the children who live in town and don't have yards to play in. So I just want, you know, that.
We considered your use, you know, your kids' use of it back in the day, and we thought they had aged out of it, kind of.
Yeah, well, there's more than just my kids who live in the town, and hopefully
Well,
we'll continue.
we're hearing that, and we're kind of hearing that now.
What's that?
We're kind of hearing that now. We should, other kids.
Yeah.
So now we've got to balance this thing. Now we think the balance between dog owners and the kids, and how we're going to do this. So
Right.
we haven't done anything yet.
Kids usually don't bite other people, though.
Yeah, no, we just don't, you know, we're
No, but if the kids,
I think that depends on the age range.
I think, yeah, you're
Just
right.
like with the dog.
You're right.
I mean, in all sincerity, when kids don't have a place to play, that's when they get into trouble. So I just put that out there. They do need a place for recreation, especially in a village area where they don't necessarily have access to that outside of their own home. So.
but would they go?
They also have Footbridge Park within walking distance as well. I mean, that's
Not really a walking distance for a young child.
no.
And the elementary school is, again, that's not a good alternative, or
I mean, it's the elementary.
just asking.
Yeah, the elementary school is definitely an alternative. Those fields are stopping wet most of the spring and
True.
good part of the summer as well. So
True.
the pocket park has been nice for kids to use. But my point is we live in a concentrated area with the most concentrated amount of people in the village area. So my point is that you have, you know, this particular area with a lot of children and young families starting out who need places recreationally to use because they don't have the green space. So that was kind of the vision behind the pocket park, was that green space.
I totally respect that. I get it.
Frankly, they were, for a couple of years after they remediated that building, and there were piles of like dirt and rocks and rubble for a couple of years, and I saw kids like playing, and it was like sad. So it's been really nice to have that for children. And you know,
Do you see a lot of children playing there? You live right across the street.
a lot of children who
Really?
live in the neighborhood. Yeah.
But do you see them playing in the park? That's yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They use the park.
Yeah, because I went as far as thinking I should put a trail camera down there to see how many people actually use the park in a week's time.
I mean, you're not talking about a lot of people driving up. You're talking about people who live in the
Right,
town.
right. But even driving past, I don't see a lot of use. I'm just curious. You live there, so you would know. You'd see people in there.
The neighborhood children use it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea in more concentrated areas where there's less yard
Okay.
space. Yeah. Is that they have the space to play.
We'll keep an open dialogue about that in a
Yeah.
couple of months.
Nothing's set in stone. We
haven't
just
done
kind of
anything
yeah.
It could potentially be gated in, because there are times I would have loved to have brought my dog in there and not have to worry about him chasing
Right.
deer outside of the park. So I could see it being multi-use and fenced in for dogs, but also available for use.
Okay.
You think there's enough room to do a half and half? No, it really isn't.
Because that would kind of mess up.
But if they could coexist to some degree, that's a really good solution.
Yeah. I think that might
Okay.
be something to think about.
Okay.
Okay.
With the designation of we already have a dog park set aside for the public use, that leaving this as an undesignated open space for the village to use.
But what if we put
Well, we have the same undesignated
Right.
space as Sycamore Park next to the dog park too, so.
Right, but that's not a concentrated village.
Yeah, understood. But again, looking out for the dog owners too.
So
Take
what
the
if we
dog over and run around.
what if we didn't fence it in?
Well, it doesn't make a good dog park. You know, let the dog
No,
run.
but what if we eased into it with the waste bags, a station, waste bag station there, showing
There
that,
should be one there. I
Yeah.
never understood why we didn't, our BCs, why they didn't do that. It seemed like that would be
Yeah.
a place that would make sense to have one. Because people do bring their dogs there now, I've seen them.
yeah, just to make it a little friendlier as a mixed-use area. And if we do decide to fence it in and let people run off leash, then, let dogs run off leash.
Yeah, that would give them the option to do that,
Yeah.
but it would still reserve the children.
Yeah.
Who live in town.
Well, you were a good person to talk to, and I was kind of hoping that you would show up because you live across the street, so,
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad I heard that because I didn't realize that that was something that was in the works, so. yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Now, Mike, you're a very patient man.
Anybody else?
Sure.
Caitlin from the BEC said the meetings are live streamed on Zoom. They are not, in fact, recorded.
Okay, I guess that's what the camera was for. All right.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm actually at Department 3. I'm not sure where you guys are getting your information about the dogs on Main Street. There's literally, maybe 4. And it's the same people that walk up and down. I mean, I don't see the really need, like, why would we need another dog park? Like, you have that one over there. Those people, most of them take their dogs to that dog park. Like she said, I agree with her, the kids need some place to play. And if you put dogs in there, it's gonna kind of make it difficult for kids, I think. Like.
And you live on Main Street and you're a dog owner,
I
so
live on Main Street,
that's,
I'm a dog
well,
owner, and I see
you're
the same
another one we need to
people.
hear from.
The handful of people of us that have dogs, I know pick up after themselves. There might be 1 or 2 that's probably down towards that end of town that maybe don't, but we've not had any problem with animals on Main Street. I mean, I've been there now for 3 years, like, I don't know, like, what's wrong with the one we have.
Well, we did have 2 reported dog bites on Main.
That dog is still there.
Yeah.
I don't even take my dog over by Blair now, by the falls there,
Yeah.
because from what I understand, that dog's still there. So, like, and I have a 15-year-old daughter too, so I don't let her take him over there because the dogs bit people. Like, why isn't that dog gone?
So do you think having a little dog bag station there would be a good thing?
Well, we still want to go over there. I
Yeah.
don't see that there's a need for another one.
Okay.
Why would you want to spend taxpayers' money for something that they don't really need to spend it on? I mean, I'm sure you have other better things.
Yep.
It's just not, I don't know. That dog, yeah, why is that dog still there? That's another thing. The one that's bit people.
There used to be a dog bag station. I think it's still there.
I mean,
Next to the sign says private property.
No, I'm talking about the pocket park. We should probably have a dog bag station over there,
And
yeah.
it's very helpful that they're placed, and the people who don't use them aren't going to use them if you have 20 dog bag stations.
That's true.
But those of us who do use them, and it's the same for people that live on Main Street. We've not had no dog problem. Like, nobody's, except for the one that bit people. And how come he is still there? Isn't he still there? Yeah.
It's a question for our animal
I
control
mean, I have
officer.
a 15-year-old daughter. I'm a little bit concerned about that too. He seems to like teenage girls. I don't really want, my daughter getting bit in the face by a dog that's still there that everybody knows about.
Right.
I mean, I hate to see the animal put down, but
There's a dog on Carhart Street that walks around with a muzzle on its face because it's quite aggressive.
well, but those people let that dog out by himself, loose.
Right.
Like, there's nobody there. Like, I've seen it. I've not been out there with my dog, and mine's he's a little fluff ball. He'll get chewed up.
Well,
So
those are exactly the comments that we need to hear. Nothing is set in stone. We were just tossing that idea around, and I'm glad you came to talk about it. I really am.
okay.
And thank you, Gina, as well.
I agree with her, though. Like, the kids,
Yeah, I mean,
the kids need a place to play, too. And we already have this big, nice dog park. There's nothing wrong with that one. And those people down at that end, they're not going to take their dog to the dog park anyway. Probably.
Okay.
So that's it. I'm going, not leaving.
Thank you. No, really appreciate it. Absolutely. Sometimes we think we're just sitting here talking to ourselves, but it's nice when people give us their opinions. Henry, come on back.
This is completely separate. Again, 111 Holland Hill Road, Blairstown, New Jersey. I actually wanted to touch on the BEC liaison position. Is that what it's called? I respectfully completely disagree with Jeanette, although she did bring up some important points that the other nonprofits in town do not have a liaison position. They also, to my knowledge, as a person of the community, it is there based on need. With how much the BEC works directly with the town, a liaison position is the best answer without having to make these people come to all the meetings. They still follow the proper channels, but it is still a great way to involve transparency and have a person. I definitely think that it should rotate and stuff like that, but I definitely think that it is a necessary and important position. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. All right, Mike.
Did you want to go ahead?
Oh, I'm here recording.
Okay.
She's press, Mike.
She's here to make sure your name is spelled correctly.
Mr. Denberg, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
S-U-K.
Mike Sunk, 5 Axe Handle Trail. It's good to see everybody.
Good to see you, Mike.
So you got my last email about helping us with another letter from you guys, supporting our points. And I just wanted to come to that in case you guys had any questions, because we're to the point now where they're going to start the test pits within the next 30 days, which is really good. And they're going to go through them as not a start of remediation, but fact-finding as far as how much is there, what's there, the extent of it. So before they do that, I want to make sure that we have all our bases covered. Because one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to have them start the job, and find out that the back of that property also has been dumped on. Because then we've got to start the process all over again. And I think the DEP, once they got the ball rolling, I think all of us have done a really good job as far as now that the coastal arm of the DEP is involved, which is excellent. And of course, the solid waste. I think that the email I had sent to Mr. Farrell requesting them to check on the other spots on that property, especially in the back, up to the fence where the Romano's property starts, is going to be critical. Because I know they got the northwest corner, which was reported, and that's the extra test pit that they're digging. But no one has seen the back of that property. And if we were to leave this same material in the back, would do no good if we just cleaned up the front and the sides.
Sure.
So the email that I had sent to the committee about what I requested Mr. Farrell to look into prior to the test pits being done. Will there be previous surveys used on the following of a contour map to ensure that all pits are truly dug to virgin ground? We're all concerned with, we all know how things happen when they dump this type of material. They have a bulldozer on site, bulldozer spreads it, and a lot of times they layer it with soil. I'm not saying they did, I'm not saying They didn't, but previous sites throughout the state, that's what they've done. So we want to make sure that when they're digging those test pits, that they do go to virgin soil. Because I spoke to the lawyer, Mr. Boning, said they were also going to test virgin soil, which we want them to do. Given the fact that there are literally well over the 50 tandems of solid waste reported, which was dumped not only in the front of the house, but according to next door neighbors, dumping that occurred on the sides and in the back. Will this be investigated also to ensure our wells and aquifers stay pristine and all illegal solid waste is removed? That's a huge one. Now, Mr. Farrell hasn't answered me. I'll follow up with another email at the end of the week, but I know that last time you sent a letter of support that initiated the coastal arm of the DEP, which was tremendous. So if you could do the same with these 5 points that we made, that would be outstanding. Will testing be expanded to incorporate more test sites, which reflects the true number of solid waste actually dumped, since DEP calls for 1 test for every 1.5 to 2 tandems. And originally it was reported to our township and to Brockerhoff, who did the testing, that only 50 tandems were dumped. We all know that's not true. And that's why the DEP ended up getting involved, because of the magnitude of this. So I want to make sure that they do enough testing to incorporate that. Because Brockerhoff only did 25 sites at 6 inches. And according to the DEP guidelines, it's got to be 1 test for every 1.5 to 2 tandems. So that was my question to Mr. Farrell that I'd like you guys to follow up to. And then, will the aquifer, we already discussed this, and neighboring wells be tested prior and during, as well as a final test after work is completed? We talked about getting a baseline. Baseline being that it's been 2 years or 1.5 years that's laid there. We'd still like a baseline. And we all know this is going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars to test for the chemicals that have been found by the Brockerhoff LSRP Environmental Group. And 5, neighbors witnessed dumping in 2019, early 2019, where satellite images checked to ensure all dump sites are being thoroughly investigated. I think that's important. In follow-up to what we talked about last time, a couple weeks ago, a week and a half, I sent you the email. I sent it to Kevin Cavada from Warren County Health, and I asked him to help us facilitate the testing in that order, and to also check on some of the properties in Hope, because they still haven't been tested.
Mike, was this since the last meeting that you spoke to him again about the testing, to Kevin Cavada?
Yeah, I sent it out today.
Okay.
Because we had talked about getting in touch with them and possibly, it's in the lead up to seeing chain of custody that you asked about, Walter, last time. So I want to give him the opportunity, and maybe he's going to say, you know what, I think we should test that, so we don't have to worry about chain of custody. I want to give him the opportunity, because what would be best is that they got involved and made the people that have the violations pay for that testing to ensure there's no contamination in that aquifer or the surrounding wells. So if you guys would kindly write a letter to all the entities that were on the last one, which includes Detective Washington from the AG's office, referencing those 5 items, that would help out a lot.
Okay.
Because what I don't want all of us to have happen is that there's any more on that property and say, we missed it. Okay, I take personal responsibility for that because I'm spearheading this for my neighbors up and down the mountain. A lot of them don't know what's going on, but I feel responsible that I need to make sure that there's a good job done so nobody's well later on down the line gets contaminated. Because we know that runoff, you can see the channels going through the ground now, and they're getting wider and deeper. And I've taken pictures of that runoff from the street running down there. And according to Mr. Farrell, who came to there, the head of solid waste, the bureau chief from DEP, I had asked him about, the effect on the wells. He couldn't guarantee me that over time it wouldn't seep into our wells. But the one thing he did say, I wouldn't drink the runoff water, that's for sure. So we know that's getting to the streams. Christine Dunbar was kind enough to write that letter, which really helped get the arm of coastal involved.
That was a good letter.
She also has seen the video that I recorded. That's leaching into our streams every time it rains. So I just wanted to make sure everybody had all the facts, because once they start those test pits, it's going to be hard to bring that backhoe back in to go test the back. I think it would be much more prudent for all of us, the town, us, everybody's going to be affected by that, to go ahead and make sure the DEP looks thoroughly at that whole property, given the fact that neighbors that are next door have witnessed that. And as I continue to move along with this, I'm just trying to cover all the bases. So I ask questions, gather information, and we're getting close to getting this started. I'm excited. I think we've all done a good job, but I don't want to drop the ball now.
Did we get the task force number? Did you see my email today?
I did see your email, and unfortunately, I thought cards were collected, but they were not. I know his last name is Grogan, so I will look into this.
I really appreciate it.
And I do apologize for not getting back to you sooner.
Kristen, you don't need to ever apologize. You do a lot of work. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I've seen the front of the property. How much of a tree canopy is over the rear? Because I like the satellite imagery idea.
A lot less than there used to be.
Right.
So
I like the satellite imagery idea, and I'm just wondering how much could be seen.
early 2019.
Right.
So I just got a new iPad, and it was a larger one, and I opened up on Google Maps, and the maps looked really good, looked better, right? So I'm looking at the maps the other day. Of course, I'm noodling around, then I go up to 50 Mount Vernon, and you could clearly see, and I was kind of trying to gauge when, because you know how it has that little code on the bottom. It didn't have that for whatever reason. I couldn't find it on the edition I was looking at. But I knew it was a couple of years ago because of, car color, the color of the car, my house, that kind of stuff. So I'm up there, and you could clearly see soil in the front of the house, a darker brown soil against all the other. You could see it. They were putting soil out. So those additions, everybody uses all kinds of satellite imagery. It's not just one imagery for that particular time frame, and it's not real hard to go. That's their job, of course, to go back through and
right, because the DEP has better satellites than you and I.
Right.
So I just want them to be on notice. Hey, you need to look at early 2018,
sure,
late 2018, just to be safe. And I'm not even sure when. But these are the reports I'm getting from the neighbors of that.
Yep. Understood.
Okay. We're on it. I don't see any reason why we can't send that letter out.
I greatly appreciate it. I know you guys have the email I sent with the 5 points.
Right.
Too.
Yep.
And we reference that when we send the letter out to make it real easy. We're not reinventing the wheel in every letter, as you know, but it gets a little more clout with those guys. Like, the town's paying attention here. We should.
And there are more eyes.
Yeah.
That's going to be really important.
Okay.
So I just wanted to stop by tonight and see if you guys had any more questions.
Nope. Thank you for your perseverance.
I'm just generally familiar with this issue, but if I need help on the letter or something, you let me know. But
okay.
They have my cell phone number. Feel free to call me anytime.
Okay.
Yep.
There's more we can do now. Take care of this all with the DEP. None of us have to get involved in removing the rest of that.
And creating a paper trail, letting people know that we're watching and that we're aware, then yes, we'll get it done for
They
you.
responded really well to you guys the last time.
Yeah, I think they're listening to you too. I think you've really been the mouthpiece for that entire road. So
I normally get an email back within 24 hours.
Yeah.
The last couple has been a little, I had to send an extra one, just, but whatever it takes to get done. So I'm going to stay with Kavada because they've got to lend a helping hand. I contacted him early in this, just kind of like, well, if you have a problem and your water's polluted, I'm like, Kevin, this is what we're trying to avoid. So I'm giving him a shot to see if he can help us get that tested. Because I think that would really help. I mean, if you want to clean this up properly, they remove it all, they test, there's nothing going down to virgin soil, there's nothing in the aquifer, and it's removed, we could all move on.
exactly.
But if you guys can work, like we talked about with nearby townships, to stop this, because it's rampant. I know that I'm going to be looking when we're close, when I see trucks moving about doing that stuff, because it's happening throughout the state.
Yeah, I think they're running out of places. I think they realize that.
Searching here.
Yeah, well, we haven't. Thankfully, we learned from Vernon's issue and put that ordinance into place a few years back. But and a lot of towns have followed suit. But they're always looking for a way to get rid of that
The
stuff.
ordinance really helped through this whole process. It gave us a base to,
Right.
and some teeth really to get things done properly. Like I said last time, appreciate all you've done because it has been handled step by step by this township. We appreciate and respect it.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. We'll be in touch. We'll be talking.
All right, awesome.
Thanks, Coach.
You guys have a great night.
You too.
Drive safe.
Mr. Pepper, nice to meet you.
Joel, while we're jabbing here, do you want to jump in and we'll? I mean, we're
I'm here to listen to Mr. Bedbrook talk about the closing.
okay. All right. Very good then. Let's. Any other questions or comments from the public? So we will move on to department head reports for the month of February. We've got our animal control officer, always with the most detailed report of any department we have, department reports. And he got a new logo. You know what I'm saying? Just got a logo now.
That's great. Oh, that's the one you're named.
Yeah. Well, number one, of course, dog at large. 9 incidents this past month. That's like the number one call that our animal control officer gets when dogs get out, and especially when they're not, they don't have a chip or a dog license on them. It's pretty tricky to get them back to the owners, but I think Facebook has been one of the best ways to reunite dogs and their humans. Blairstown Fire Department Hose Company number 1. I gotta say, as a fire commissioner, I've gained an immense amount of respect for what our fire department does, and how they really selflessly give their time and sometimes their safety to take care of the property and the lives here in this town. 17 responses from Blairstown this past month. Hope, Stillwater, Green, only 1. Hardwick, 4. Frelinghuysen, none this time, and Knowlton, 1. Total incident responses of 23 over the course of the last month. Number 1, alarms. Smoke alarms, CO alarms, heat, and only 2 motor vehicle accidents. So pretty light month for a winter month for our fire department. Not a lot of ice and snow, I guess, to worry about with the car accidents. 'Chief Financial Officer, 1 Chief 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 Do we want to talk about that now? No, we'll save that for later.
That's just our year-end report.
That's our year-end report? Yeah. We have some good news with our bond that we have now.
Yeah, save that for.
We'll save that. Department of Public Works, do you want to save that for your words? Okay. And our police department report, which is also, well, it's almost as lengthy as DPW, but they responded to 1,881 calls this last month. That is a lot of work for a police department that goes home at midnight. It really is. And Township Clerk, you have your report submitted?
Yes.
Vacant and abandoned properties, what is the total on there? Joanne, do you have that?
9,500, I think?
Yep, 9,500
well.
so far. Low is good.
That is good.
It's good.
Selling and people are rehabbing them.
Exactly.
6 houses for sale in Blairstown.
Very
That's
low.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, COVID has done some good things for us. And do we have a motion to accept the February department head reports?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, accept those reports. Consent agenda, we've got 6 items this time around. I'll go down the list. Do we have any we want to spin off and vote on individually, or can we roll right through these? Number 1 is 2022-51 award contract for the purchase of E1 Typhoon pumper truck. That is our brand new truck that we're getting for the fire department. We've been talking about that for months now. 2022-52 resolution authorizing the Blairstown Police Department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 1033 program to enable the Blairstown Police Department to request and acquire excess Department of Defense equipment. Really pretty cool program that can save the township a lot of money if we're looking for something and the government is looking to get rid of it. They find homes for these things, and we just have to use them. We keep them for a certain amount of time, and if we lose our purpose for it, we can then sell it down the line. It's really a win-win. It's a shame that the U.S. government just has so much stuff laying around that they give it away. But and 2022-53 resolution to support the designation of the Delaware Water Gap as a national park. I think that is a no-brainer. Trying to support the county in their efforts to preserve the S-curves.
Maybe they won't have a rock wall.
Exactly. Well, that's part of it. You don't want to put up one of those big Jurassic Park fences in a national park. 2022-54 resolution approving the issuance of raffle license number RA2202 to Blairstown PTG.
Yes.
PTG. What is that?
Parent-teacher group.
See, it's not PTA.
No.
I was looking for the A, the parent-teacher group. That's what I thought it was, to conduct a 50-50 on May 21st, 2022. Next one is very similar, 2022-55, resolution approving the issuance of raffle license number RA2203 to the Blairstown parent-teacher group to conduct a merchandise raffle on May 21st, 2022. And 2022-56, resolution approving vouchers and claims.
Just a note of reference for you, PTG refers to the elementary school.
It's just elementary?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just the elementary.
All right.
I think the high schools might be the PTA.
PTO.
PTO.
What happened to the PTA? Why'd they lose that? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please, Kristen.
Mr. Orcutt?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Valkenburg?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes. Unfinished business. What do we have, where have we gotten on the digital sign? I've looked at some of the examples, the existing signs they have, and
Well, Mayor,
it seems like you have a little pile
later,
there, too.
late this afternoon, I did get some renderings to pass one down to Joanne also. I did get some renderings from the sign guys that we had talked to. This is not the sign. Let's be clear. This is not what we're doing.
Right.
This is what they sent because we weren't talking to them, so they were pushing this out. It may end up being something like this. I asked them to come back, model this out a little bit more off of our existing sign with the curly metal things on top and the post to the outside. I do not believe, I personally don't want this big base on the bottom. And it'll save a lot of money too. This is a ridiculous expense in this thing anyway. But they're going to do two more renderings. One to look really like the one we have out there with posts on the side, the curly things on top, and then the other one would have maybe not the stuff on. It would look similar to this. It wouldn't have the base, but it would have two posts inside the sign. So we'll take a look at those two. That doesn't mean we're even settling on those, but it'll give us something to discuss. And
the info area is really good, though.
Yeah.
It seems really big and easy to read.
Yeah.
Right?
This is 3 feet. That's 3 feet.
Drive by?
No.
When it was up, it's bright.
It's 3 feet by 8 feet. It's
And
nice.
if you run video on this, unlike the one at the high school, if you run video on this, you can see the video. I mean, you can have a car driving across the screen and see it.
So that's evolving. We're by the time we have another meeting, we'll have we'll have renderings before that, but so we can just keep moving along with this.
I'm going to say I do like the base. I think just poles under it, it's going to make it look like a used car dealership. I think that validates the whole thing.
Poles under it, then you have to get the weed whacker under there and everything over here.
Well, that's similar to the one that Christine and I got that you didn't like.
Well,
not you, the one all the way at the end.
I like the base.
Nice.
I do like the base. I think it'll match the building better. It doesn't make us look like we're, selling refrigerators.
We're kind of, that's fine. Well, it's for this, it crowds on the highway. I'm just trying to make it look not as crowded on the clunky right on the road, but okay.
But if you're going to make
let's look at the other drawings too.
Okay.
We can compare.
I like that. That's a good
start.
Yeah.
Good start.
Good start.
Nice.
Mr. Mayor, as a suggestion, since you guys are debating the base, if you take a flat stone, circle under it, fill it with dirt, with some nice flowers, would that be less expensive and less bulk?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Like you mean like a little flower bed under the...
You mean the river rock,
The flat stone.
Yeah.
All around.
Yeah.
Done nicely.
Yeah.
Is the base less substantial because you need the height for that digital sign so drivers can see it?
No, I think it's something for the cars to run into as opposed to running over the sign.
I'd rather they hit the base than the expensive sign, really. I like I think the base kind of matches the stone on the front of the building.
Well, that was
here.
their idea.
Yeah.
It looks darker, but that may be the way we printed it out.
And keep in mind, this falls under what we can use for the COVID money that each town receives. This will not be taxpayer money. Well, not you. This comes from the federal government, but this is not using tax dollars, our tax dollars, to pay for.
Anything the federal government gives out, might as well take it.
That's our thinking.
Our attitude. That's our attitude.
And if we don't take it, it goes away. So may as well make something look nice.
Deadline dates to use it.
Yes. Blairstown Dog Park, I think we covered all of that, right? Water filtration bid specs, that's...
Memo today?
Yes.
Okay.
So bid specs aside, they won't happen until we get the other well online. And the other well, we are so close now. All we need is the DEP to give a thumbs up on the PDF plans that were sent over and FedEx today to the DEP. As soon as they see them, approve them, we can put our new injection port into the new well with the chemicals we need to put in there to make it all good, and we will have that well up and running, I would say, within a couple of weeks. And that's a long time coming. We found the original building permit on the ground the other day outside the well, and it was dated 2018. We've been working on it. The plans were dated 2018, correct? I mean, this has been going for a long time. It'll be nice to see that well finally fully operational, and it will vastly improve the quality of the water that the village is served with.
A little dicey lately.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. And once that other well comes offline, then we'll be able to do all the necessary repairs to that using COVID money as well, because that falls under one of the qualified expenses. And the water coming out of that well, when we need to use it as a backup, will be just as fresh and clean as it ought to be. Farm Meadow Park.
I'm going to meet with Kevin sometime in the next few weeks.
I did send you...
You sent us about the recreation ordinance. We want to have that committee. That committee is going to be just for Farm Meadow Park improvements. And we're going to we'll talk about it. We'll set up. It's going to mirror that, but we're going to have to do an ordinance anyway to set it up.
That's why I wasn't sure whether you wanted to actually create a separate committee since you have one.
Yeah, we do. We kind of have to. Yeah.
Okay.
We have to.
Right,
You and I'll work on that in the next couple of weeks. There's not we're not having a meeting for this month, so we have some time to get that pulled together.
Some good news. We can finally take this off of the agenda, the Planet Networks lease agreement with the township, and involves this building. So we'd been going back and forth, and I know our attorney had been going back and forth with Planet Networks trying to get a pretty simple agreement that we had made up for using one of the open back rooms here that houses our telephone systems. They'll be putting a rack back there that is I would call it a node or a repeater. It's what will service the entire downtown Blairstown area, this whole area here within 12 miles, with amazing, really amazing, what we've never seen before, network capability. We're going to have 1 gig service in this building. I don't think anyone has ever uttered the words 1 gig with regards to internet in this town ever. We're going to have this fiber optic network that they've already run it all through the village. So as soon as this rack back here is online and powered up, the village will have the fastest internet that you're going to be seeing in Warren County. It's really something great. We finally got that lease agreement signed.
I think they also sent over a certificate of insurance. Again, my primary concern was to make sure, God forbid there's a fire in that cabinet or something, there's damage to our building. We wanted to make sure there's insurance. The lease that I drafted is fine. His amendments were fine. I'm perfectly comfortable with you as a committee want to make a motion to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the lease, because I emailed it to Chris and it's been signed now by Planet Network. The only thing I will say is I wasn't completely satisfied with the certificate of insurance, but I've already reached out to them. I think I copied you, Kristen, with that email, and the mayor as well. I want to make sure that correctly designates what they're insuring, because that's my primary concern for you guys, is that we have insurance in the event of damage to the building. That's on their nickel.
Right.
So if you guys want to make a motion,
we actually had done that, Kevin, here, right? We've already authorized the signature of the.
If we haven't, it's fine.
No, we authorized Kevin to
do the lease.
Agreement.
Yeah, we have to execute that lease. Yeah, sure.
I just got this afternoon, and I didn't have a chance to really read this, but I do have some questions on here. Number one, it says that in addition, where is it? The lease, what is it? What portion of the leasee shall have the exclusive right to use the portion of the property that is subject matter of the lease? Lessor shall continue to have the right to use an occupancy. There was a portion in here that said the leasee has the right, in addition, let's see. I didn't really get a chance to read this because it just didn't come in until late this afternoon.
Yeah, everyone
It's
does.
circulated for a couple.
This whole thing.
This just came in today.
But there was a part in here that said that they have the exclusive right.
They have the exclusive use of that cabinet area and the non-exclusive, obviously, access right to get to their exclusive fees. That's basically what it says.
And this gives them 24-hour access to the unit.
No, I understand that, but there was something in here that, real quickly, that I read about them having the right to all the property here.
Well, Sheila's for that, can I ask, do you know, do they have any intention of taking their lines further into town? So it's great that it's in the village, but...
They do, yes.
Is that their long-term plan, is to take it throughout town?
What they had run so far, though, they couldn't light up, so to speak. It's been sitting there waiting for this to be installed
No,
somewhere.
I don't think it's long-term, it's short-term, that they're going to go through it.
Yes, they're going to, because they're all the way down 94, they're going to start going off 94 down all the other roads.
Wondering, like, when they get to Walnut Valley, would they need a substation there?
No, but this allows them 12 miles. So the first node, so to speak, is in Newton, 12 miles down the road. Here we are. So this will allow another 12-mile. Yeah.
Well, maybe while Joanne is researching there.
She found it.
I found Article 2, grant of access. In addition, lessor hereby grants to leasee a non-exclusive right of access to the parking lots and other public exterior portions of the property and an exclusive access via exterior door to the leased portion of the property.
Right. That's my understanding. Obviously, they need to have the right to come onto the property, in the parking lot. My understanding is they're going to have an exclusive access because we don't want them wandering around our building. So that access in the rear of the building is going to be exclusive to them, and they have the non-exclusive right to use the public portion of the property to get to that door.
Does that affect the police department at all?
No.
No, the door is on...
The side door? Are we talking about the side door?
This side, yeah. They'd be using the police department parking lot if they had to come to service it, but they're not going through the police department to get to it.
So they'll have access to that back door at any point in time?
The side door, yeah.
All right, so what happens with the alarm if they come at a certain time that the alarm is on? Or
That alarm, I will double check, but I don't know if I should be saying this.
No, don't.
Yeah. Sorry, not that I don't trust any of you, but this is being taped. Yeah.
We had that discussion already.
And Chief Johnson walked with him as well.
Okay.
All right.
So, you need a motion.
I would love a motion to execute this lease agreement.
Kevin, you went over this and
Yeah, I
everything?
drafted
He wrote it.
He did it.
But this protects us?
Yes.
And it doesn't just give them exclusive right to anything, to everything and anything?
I insisted on a lease, and again, I basically want to make sure our building is protected, but yes, I'm satisfied with the lease, Joanne.
And it's a 10-year lease, it said? 10-year lease, I think it said? For $10,
But it's a
$1 a
nominal
year?
$1 lease, and
$1 a year for
it
10
can be
years.
terminated by either of us if it's not working out.
Will this provide access to the whole town now?
For most of the town, yeah. Yeah. And it's all, like I said, downtown is already wired.
Yeah.
So anyone in the village can now get fiber optic.
Again, I think they're going to be getting that equipment in there fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I started talking with the president of the company, so hopefully it'll help you guys out with your service.
I would move that authorization to sign the lease.
I'll second.
All right, roll call, Kristen.
Mr. Orcott?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Valkenburg?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes.
Mayor, maybe you could talk about the whole encompassing deal for the benefit of the YouTube audience.
That's true. They were looking at a couple other places that would have cost them, a little bit of money to either fit it into another building here or have to build an outbuilding onto another property to house this. So when we offered that room, they said we could also, in trade, get a new phone system. Our phone system is made by, is it Nortel? it's not even in business anymore. We can't update our outgoing messaging on our phone system. I believe Chief Johnson might still be Captain Johnson when you call. It is completely outdated, and we can't even get the thing serviced. So we'll be getting a brand new VoIP, voice over IP phone system with all of the extensions that we laid out in our requirements to them, and that is in consideration of what we're doing for them.
The other locations.
Oh, yeah, well, it's not going to just cover this building. It will cover the Walnut Valley Firehouse. It will cover the water company and the Blairstown Hose Company #1, and the ambulance corps.
And DPW, right?
And DPW, yeah. All of our buildings will be covered by this high-speed internet and brand-new phone system.
And the phone bill?
The phone bill will be much lower than what we're paying with CenturyLink now, because we are just paying for internet access now and not a phone service.
What about Gibbons Belay? Can they do something over there too?
Do we control the phone in Gibbons Belay? Do we pay a bill for
They
that?
have a phone in Gibbons Belay?
There was. I know there was a phone there.
I've never even.
I mean, I haven't been in there.
Well, there just may be a landline there.
Yeah.
Used to be a landline.
I've never seen an actual.
But I mean,
Didn't we have a presentation about somebody that wanted to improve the Legion?
Yeah,
Legion wants
they
to do
did
that
have
for
that,
fire.
the Legion,
So
yeah.
Maybe when they get that done, we can get it extended.
Yeah. But this is not only going to bring us up to date with our internet access. I mean, we will have better internet access than New York City at this point, because we will have 1 gig access in here, which means this video that we record for 2.5 hours will take literally seconds to upload, as opposed to when I upload a 15-minute video from my house, it takes about 3-4 hours. If you don't get an error that occurs, and then you wake up and find your computer sitting there and hasn't uploaded anything. This is astonishingly fast internet, and we'll be provided with that for less than we were paying for our telephone service. And our telephone service, it's doesn't make you feel good when you look at how much we pay and what we get for our service. We get extremely slow internet, and we have an old antiquated telephone system that we can't even update. So it's a win-win. It really is.
Well, Mayor, just let me take this opportunity to thank you for your efforts. You've been working on this for a long time, well over a year, and in dealing directly with the owner of Planet Network and.
Do you want to know how? Do you want to know how this got signed?
There's a good story. I think I heard the story. This is the Tesla story?
I saw the owner, the CEO of Planet Networks. I saw his car in Newton last night. He was in front of me, and we got to the green, and it got to be 2 lanes, and I said, the meeting's tomorrow night. I got to talk to him. I pulled up alongside him. I honked the horn. I opened the window. I said, Robert, we need that agreement signed. Meeting tomorrow night. And he got in touch with our attorney, and we're done. It has been a long time coming, so I'm happy about that. New business, our facility use form update, what you were talking about before. Do you have...
I actually put that on to ask if we can, I know we discussed it, but we need to start updating this, because we have a few more things being entered in and applying for, and there's just things I feel we need to add. Rec department feels we need to add, DPW feels we need to add, so. Also, our ordinance that has our festivities, there's only 4, and we seem to be having a few more now than.
All right.
So I'd like to update this.
Just an update, okay.
And I would like to have a committee member present when we discuss it, so it's understanding why we're doing what we're doing.
Okay.
That would be buildings and grounds?
It could be anybody. This covers all areas. Buildings and grounds, recreation, police, doesn't matter. Whoever raises their hand first, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Sounds good. Well, one of us will certainly help you out with that.
Combination there.
Yeah. This JCP&L beginning to install these smart meters in 2023. If you didn't get this in your mail, or if you don't know what a smart meter is, this is interesting. This is JCP&L really taking themselves into the next generation of not only streamlining personnel, because this is going to do away, if they do this in every one of their customers' locations, this will do away with the meter reader, because your smart meter will have two-way communication with JCP&L. No longer will you have an estimated bill because the meter reader couldn't get out in inclement weather. And also the very nice thing, which will help us in this area, is when you have a power outage, they can immediately tell which homes are without power because they have that communication with all of those meters. So you won't even really need to call and say you have a power outage. They'll know it already. It'll show up on the grid, and it'll give them a much better idea of how and where to service the areas that are affected. So they just wanted to get that word out there that is coming in 2023, and they will be switching out those meters eventually. I think it's a great thing. I feel bad for the meter readers. They're not going to have that job anymore. But it's one less car coming up my driveway. It's always a different car. I never know who it is. But having that two-way communication will definitely get us our lights back on faster when our power goes out. Because I know a lot of people, they're like the last person on the street that doesn't have power, and they wonder why. Well, now JCP&L will know when your power is on and when it's off.
Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
you skipped something.
I skipped the
Yeah.
I thought that was in what we.
No. There's a total of 3 application for facility uses in your packets.
Do they all need to be updated?
No. You need to approve them. We have one for Memorial Day, one for the Blairstown Enhancement Committee, and the Pride Day you already approved. I just had questions, which they answered.
Okay.
So the Blairstown Enhancement Committee is looking to have an event on May 7th from 10 to 2 at the Blairstown Host Company. They are having food trucks, live music, mini farmer market, children, wellness activities, and vendor craft. Again, I got to figure out what this is.
Now, yes, that is only a rain, that's in the event of rain. That's what I was told. That's what the hose company is thinking. That is only if it rains and they have to go inside.
That it's going to be at the Blairstown Hose Company if it's going to be inside?
If it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Unless well then.
This is saying place of event.
All right. Well, Chief Slater was under the impression that they're kind of a backup in case of rain.
So I guess I need to talk to Dave Paulson. I guess maybe they're having an event in the parking lot, and then if it rains, it's going inside?
Not according to what they said at the meeting. I don't think so.
Okay, so I guess I need to get clarification on that first. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right, which is somewhat contradictory because Rob's referring to what they said at the fire meeting, what they were.
You did hear that correctly, right? Yeah.
And Joanne's saying that she heard what this says.
They didn't say that about it being just.
Right, but I'm saying they're not on the same page. The fire department and PDC are not on the same page. What day of the week is that? I mean, how does that impact the farmer's market as well?
I don't think the farmer's market starts until...
Till after that date? Okay.
Yeah, May 7th is a Saturday.
But it was food trucks. It was the way
it's a lot.
The fire department explained it. It was all trucks outside and generators and all that kind of stuff. And just in case it rained, they might bring some of the tables. Not much. The whole event's not coming into the fire department.
So it's going.
What happens?
Okay, so
it's a Saturday.
So this is really they're not only using the firehouse perhaps, but this is mainly out in the parking lot, parking lot.
It is, yeah. Clearly is.
Okay, but if it rains, they have to go inside, right?
Everybody wouldn't go inside. It's just a few things would go inside. They can't move everything inside. By the way, they got to move all the trucks outside.
Exactly, May 7th.
Is it? I have to check.
Well, pretty sure.
Kendria has not...
Well, they're not bringing the food trucks inside.
I am just presenting the application, and there's two different stories going
Yeah,
on.
I'm
So
a little
I'm going
conf-
to
I'm a
reach
little
out to
confused.
Dave Paulson, because the other question is where they're all going to park.
Right.
Because if they park at the elementary school, I'm pretty sure they need to get permission from them to do that.
That's their.
And if you're,
Right.
they can't set up food trucks in front of the firehouse because you can't block the trucks.
And they need trust and
And that's the other thing. The police department is saying if they're going to have 750 people, there should be 2 officers on duty.
Yeah, we have questions.
Okay, so I'm going to get back to Dave on that. But the other thing is the Memorial Day Parade, which is annual.
And it's,
We'll stay on this. Stay on BEC for a second.
We don't have answers. Why are we going to stay on it? We need
we have
to
more
get answers.
questions.
Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
This is what Dave would. Don't get snippy. This is what Dave was talking about on Saturday. Whether we could, the 750 to police presence. Can we waive the $1,000 fee or waive the Porta-John fees or whatever? Because they're clearly asking for that in this application.
I did not know about this application when he talked about this. So I cannot answer that question for you. I thought he was talking about the fall festival.
Okay. But this rises to the level of needing a police officer down there?
That is what I'm being told by the police
It
officer.
kicks into our ordinance that talks about festivals
Yes.
or whatever, right?
On property.
All right, maybe for the April meeting, we need to have Dave back in here too,
I would love to have him back in here to explain this to us.
and Chief Slater.
That would be fantastic.
yeah.
You take care of
It's
that?
costly to put on an event when you have to pay for police, and that's generally why our vendors are paid.
Well, we were trying to avoid budgeting money for BEC also. That's, money that would be spent for things like the police.
Just be mindful, if you budget money for one nonprofit organization, you will have 50 other nonprofits in town come to you.
And that's the other.
Duly noted.
We understand. We get it.
All right.
One more,
One more.
Memorial Day Parade.
Yes,
Which is normal.
Which is rubber stamped from your.
I am
your
saying
report,
this
correct?
on the record. They are asking for us to pay the
Do
pipers.
you see this? $2,700. It's right there. Bagpipers.
We
It's
did.
You all heard that.
Okay.
It's in here.
Do we need 2 bagpiper groups?
Well, did you read this letter?
No, I didn't read that
There's some
letter.
rationale behind this email. The crook.
The 2,
I wish I had talked to him about it the other night.
bands.
They got rid of some bands, but they're keeping the 2 that we have to pay for, it sounds like.
How much is he asking for?
$2,700 for the pipers, plus the police, plus the porta-johns,
Say that again?
plus the police.
Police,
Plus the
porta-johns, and
porta-johns.
2,700 for the pipers.
But to me, they're asking us for how much money? Or are they just,
They're asking for the porta-johns to be paid by the township, they're asking for the police to be paid for by the township, and they are asking for us to pay the $2,700 for the pipers.
What are they paying for?
I have no idea, but last year when we questioned them, they said this is a Blairstown Memorial Day Parade.
Okay. That's not a really good argument, honestly. I'd like to know why if we're footing the bill for the entire thing, I'd like to know why.
No, we're not fitting.
What are they paying for?
Their beer garden, beer truck thing.
That's probably, yeah.
We're not involved in that.
Yes, but that's how they pay for the event.
That's how they pay for the beer truck. I don't know.
No, the sales of the beer pays for the event, but I don't know what they're.
Trophies, do they do that kind of
They do
stuff?
trophies.
They do trophies.
Yes, but I'm sure they're not doing $2,700 worth of trophies either.
I can ask Mr. Kruk if he can give us a breakdown on the items that they pay for.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's the Blairstown, and it's not the Blairstown.
Is it included in the budget? Let's put it that way. That's
We increased this-
$7,500. Is it included?
We did increase. Yeah, we have
We did
it
increase
for
it.
the celebration thing. What was it? $2,500 last year that we paid? It's-
Yeah, but we just paid it because we didn't have it budgeted. We just paid
But
it in
the
November.
pipers were $2,500, not $2,700.
Well, everything's going up.
$200.
With the pipers, COVID has made pipers more expensive.
Well, there's a shortage. There's a shortage
It's
of
2
paper.
bands.
If somebody knew that.
I understand that. I don't know why pipers numbers got more expensive.
But to answer Joanne's questions, it was put in the budget for
Yes.
celebration of public events.
Yeah.
We did raise that.
We raised that because we were being asked to pay $3,500 for the fireworks.
No, we just raised it so we would have money in there too for other things like fireworks.
For this and the fireworks. We only had enough money for one, really, last
Yeah.
year.
Well, you got to watch it because you also have the 4th of July that you give money
That's
to
a different,
also.
that is a different thing.
But it's in that budget.
No, it's
No, it's
a
a
what do you
different,
call
it's a
it?
different line
dedicated
item.
Trust fund.
It's a dedicated trust fund.
We put enough money in the budget for that, though, for unforeseen, even some unforeseen things.
I still have questions, but I had questions last year.
There's time for them to get in here before.
Yeah,
So we'll get them in here in the first meeting in April?
Yes, it's busy day.
Okay.
I just want to know if we're footing the bill for
It's
the
the
whole,
introduction.
Sounds like we are.
what the parade entails. I mean, just, if we're doing it for naming rights.
I think you should call Crook. I think you should call Crook tomorrow. You and him should. You're really good at dealing directly with these guys, like you did with Planet Network.
I have to talk to him while cars are beeping at me. That's the only way I can.
All right.
That's the only way I can have meetings. All right. So I guess what we can.
So we're not really approving any of them yet because we want questions answered.
No, we
Okay.
don't have one we can approve, do we?
Well, the
We
pride
approved the pride flag
You already
ceremony,
did that,
sure.
like
Yep.
last.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to correspondence.
One more thing. Jones Farm lease, that's up. Mr. Mott does the farming. He doesn't pay us. He's never paid us. So I just want to make sure I can send that out.
I don't see what was the term on that lease? Was it annual or was it a couple years?
2 years.
2 years. It was a 2 year.
I don't see a reason not to do it.
Technically, they're supposed to be bid.
Supposed to be what?
Bid.
How much?
Really?
How
Yeah,
much
we have
is
to do that, ever.
how much is actually farmed on that land?
I honestly don't know.
It's just the part.
It's that front. That's why we're not
Just
charging.
it's a very small. We gave a piece of it to the remote control airplane folks. I mean, there's not much there.
So I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Technically, I think we're supposed to.
It's farm it, it's like you find corn or whatever in there.
Hey.
Hey, but we have 2.
Yeah, I mean, most of my municipalities, periodically, you put them all out to bid.
Well,
That's
Even
what
if
the
they're not
statute
paying?
If the only exception to that generally in the statute is if you acquire a piece and it's already being farmed, you can continue to renew with that farmer, but once that farmer's done. So I don't know whether he's always been doing it. I don't have a big issue with it. I'm just telling you at some point.
well, that some point's coming right up, Kevin, because we're going to talk about that next.
But I mean, at this point, you're at planting season, so I think we're past the time. They're going to be turning soil here soon.
Well, it's hay. It's hay, so it doesn't matter too
I'd
much.
say maybe renew it this time around. Just bear in mind next time we might want to throw it out.
Because we do have one coming up at the end of this year.
Oh, really? I'll make a note. If you get that one to me, we
Yeah.
can take a look.
No, but no.
We don't receive.
As soon as we close on the Board of Education property, we have to, Macroviches are making hay down there.
Oh.
They don't have, as you know, the Board of Education does not have a lease with
I wasn't
them.
talking about that property.
Probably never did. They probably weren't even paying the Board of Education either.
I'm talking about the Coram property.
Okay.
I don't,
Where's it for? All right.
Oh, Farm
Well, listen,
Meadows.
I'll work with Kristen and we'll make sure
on Farm Meadow,
as these leases start to come up or when we close.
we may need to bid this. Go ahead, Joel.
I don't think
3
we're.
acres does require a lease agreement, specific things all in it.
And I have.
No, we have that. It's pretty
It's
onerous
very
form
lengthy.
too.
They probably also want it bid. I mean, they'll probably require it to bid as well. So, but again,
But if it's-
we're at the point at this point where farmers are going to start tilling here if they're going to be paying soybeans and stuff here in the next few weeks. So I'm not telling you not to renew this one. I'm just pointing out as we go forward, as these leases come up, we'll take a look at the bidding process. And then
Well, how are we going to resolve, how are we going to resolve the Board of Education property, which will close next week, let's say, or you're going to report on that? How are we going to resolve that? Because whether we just continue, there's not an existing lease there.
Yeah,
And it is hay, it's just a hay field, but they do need to get fertilizer, no tilling, but they need to get fertilizer on that field. How are we going to resolve that? And I'd like to go out, but it's getting late to go out and bid it, but it's getting late.
Hey, I suppose we could do it, but if they're doing.
Well, they have to
field
put
crops-
fertilizer.
But I mean, again,
Do you think we could get away with?
Ultimately, we're going to have to comply with the Green Acres requirement.
So we-
If you want to try to slide through one more season because we're getting it so late at this point.
Right.
I'm not going to make a big deal.
We could probably get away with that
I don't
one.
think Green Acres would either, but certainly by next planting season, we're going to, like this fall, we should put that out for bid.
Understood. So how do we, but we do need something, we do need something for BOE because apparently they haven't paid rent to make the hay down there. Our understanding, do we know that?
I don't.
BOE would have told us that, right? Here's the lease. So how do we deal with putting a price tag with Makrovich for making hay down there to continue to make hay? How are we going to deal with that? Use the same.
I mean, I would suggest at this point we do at least a one-season lease. And
Of course.
I mean, guys will have to establish a per acre rate. If it's just hay, I don't know what that is, whether that's $50 an acre or something. I mean, good field crops are bringing 125 to 175 an acre. I just did one in Bethlehem Township last year. It went for over 200 an acre. But, it's very dependent on the commodities and what the pricing is. But, I mean, if it's just hay, even though hay's gotten expensive as well, I would say we would do the lease, do it for just this season. You guys pick a per acreage price, and I'll circulate it to them.
Okay. I'll have to talk to Makrovich too. But I'll talk to the current.
Joel, you're saying that, I mean, I've done a zillion farm leases, but there's specific Green Acres language that we need to get into that lease. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
there's supposed to be a 10-foot perimeter around the whole farm field for public access. There's all kinds of things.
Okay.
I think they gave this on as part of this with the Jones Farm when they did that inspection when they came up to look at it.
Well, we had a one-page lease for Jones Farm, and now we have the real.
Now it's a 50-page lease. I say sarcastically.
No, it's like 10 pages. It's 7 or 10 pages.
All right. So we'll handle that.
Be aware, okay.
If I
We'll
also
work-
can send you the lease so you can look at it, it's very lengthy.
I could probably modify it and get it.
It was a requirement by Green Acres, so I'll send you what Joel said, but if maybe you could.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, remaining correspondence here. Older Americans Month is coming up. It's a time for our nation to celebrate older adults and their contributions to our communities. Each May, this annual observance offers a special opportunity to learn about, support, recognize, and celebrate our nation's older residents. The national theme for Older Americans Month 22 is Age My Way, an opportunity for all of us to explore the many ways older adults can remain in and be involved with their communities. To celebrate Older Americans Month, the Warren County Aging Services Advisory Council annually conducts a county-wide search for an older adult to honor with the Mary Louise Christine Outstanding Senior Citizen of Warren County Award. We seek your help in identifying a Warren County senior whose service to their community has benefited over other residents to the extent that you'll feel that they are deserving of this distinction. In addition to the honoree's name being permanently memorialized on a plaque displayed in the Wayne Dumont Jr. Administration Building, the 2022 Outstanding Senior Citizen of Warren County will be presented with a meritorious plaque by the Warren County Board of County Commissioners and celebrated at a reception May 25th, 2022. Each nominee for the award will receive a special certificate of appreciation and be invited to attend the reception. So we're being asked if we have any nominations.
It's actually, we can do it, and any resident can do it. It's on the
Okay.
website.
And their website is...
It's on our website.
It's on our website?
Yep.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, I don't see anything on here about theirs. So that would be nice if anyone has an older person that they think is deserving of this distinction. We can certainly...
We're not talking about that.
No, we won't talk about that, but we have a name in mind. I guess we'd like that to be a surprise. Yeah. And next up, the Concord Energy Services reached out to us to tell us about the bids for energy This is the folks that give us the slightly lower rates in our town. That we've opted into this co-op for a few years now, and it has saved our residents on our electric bills. And I read this last week.
Looks like they're going to try to get
Yeah, they still haven't gotten, they haven't gotten any.
But they've agreed to do it.
Right, but they haven't gotten any, and last time around, they didn't get any reasonable rate that would save us anything, so they passed. And they're going to do it again on our behalf, so that's always a good thing. They, if you look at what they've done over the course of a few years, they really have saved folks in Warren and Sussex County millions of dollars on their energy bills. Flip back to the beginning. I do like the folder here, Kristen. This helped quite a bit.
Good.
I can keep track. Let's hear from our township attorney. What's happening, Kevin?
We covered most of what I was going to address, but Joel indicated earlier he was here to get an update on our closing with the BOE property. Actually, I was assuming it would have been closed by now, but the good news is it's on the cusp. It should close Tuesday. The Green Acres has fully funded it. I coordinated with Kim Testa and with Joel. We updated our title binder, got everything cleaned up. She's satisfied with all the draft documents. Part of the problem is John Crute, the board attorney, he really doesn't do a lot of real estate. So as I think I told you, Mayor, actually he asked me to help him draft a few of the documents because I had to do a lot of that, which was not a problem. And then I guess the Board of Education chairman was away a little bit. His paralegal was out a few days, yada, yada, yada. But the bottom line is Green Acres is satisfied. It's fully funded. It's in our account. RVC has deposited their piece, I believe, Joel. So we have all the money. Tuesday, John Crute, the board's attorney, is going to have all the documents signed, and he's going to hand deliver them to my office. And then I will take care of getting them recorded and get our title insurance policy. But we will own that property as of Tuesday. At that point, I'll coordinate with Christine, and we'll just get a check hand delivered over to the board, right here. And we're done, and you will own it.
Very good.
I wasn't aware of the lease aspect of it that Walter mentioned, but I made a note. I'll make sure that we get some type of at least a one-season lease with Mr. Makovich in place. I don't know. I'll leave the rent open, but I'm thinking maybe $50 an acre most, probably for hay. I don't know. But that's up to you guys. They said that's kind of what I've been seeing for hay. It's a little different if it's a field crop. It's obviously worth more if it's corn. But so that's good news. And then the only other thing that I would update you on, I did have a conference call with Judge Miller today on our COA. I have been going back and forth with Joanne on that, and also Roger Thomas, our land use board attorney. The bottom line is, I've always candidly felt that this whole COA round after round of affordable housing is a bit of a charade, candidly. Your number here, I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I had them this morning when I had my conference call, but you have a racially adjusted need of like 70 units.
86 or something.
Yeah, and part of that you have addressed a little bit with 10 units of market to affordable, which Teresa has done a wonderful job with over the years. We were suggesting we were going to try to convert some apartments. There's an apartment conversion process. I think she's gotten about 4 of those done. Our settlement contemplates.
We only have 6 left to do.
Yeah, we have 6 of those left. But then there's this massive number of units that really, at the time we did the settlement, is a little bit more realistic because we were having some discussions exploratory with Blair about potentially bringing their sewage treatment plant down the hill and kind of expanding sewer to the downtown area. So as a result, when we did the settlement, I was the attorney back then when we worked on this, and we had Jessica Caldwell as our planner. we said, well, look, we'll durationally adjust that need. What that means basically is, well, you don't have the current infrastructure, but if you do, here's where something might make sense. So you guys decided at the time, the then committee decided to go with a village overlay district in the village area that would contemplate 6 units per acre with public sewer. You already have water there. And that would theoretically provide a target, if you would, for some redevelopment downtown with some high-density development. Because every COA unit that we have to provide of that number, you have to give them 5 market units. It's a 5-to-1 ratio. So if you're thinking about 50 units, you're talking about a 300-unit project somewhere in this township. And candidly, I don't see
No
it.
land for it. Anyway, it couldn't
There's
happen.
no land for it. It's just absolutely pie in the sky. So in any event, the land use board at one point did put the overlay concept into the master plan. But then I think realistically, they said, well, why are we bothering to actually go forward with the ordinance? It doesn't really make sense anymore. The exploratory sewer issues with Blair kind of petered out, fell apart. So we have not actually perfected that settlement, so, which is fine. The world continues to rotate. But Judge Miller basically said, look, you guys, he's retired, but he's going to be being recalled, and he's going to be just a special master for just these few finish-up COA litigations that he's responsible for in the whole vicinage. He's got quite a few. But candidly, and I'll put this in a memo for you guys, and you can think about this over the next couple of months here, but within that next couple of months time frame, he would like to know from us, hey, are we going to bother trying to either go ahead and finalize this settlement and do that ordinance, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense because it's never going to happen. It's a waste of paper, it's a waste of getting a planner, it's a waste of legal time. Are we going to pick another parcel in the township somewhere and put some type of high-density overlay on that? I don't think any of you guys would necessarily be thrilled with that either. Or, candidly, Kevin, he said, and I've known Judge Miller for a lot of years, and he knows I've grown up here, and he said, Kevin, Blairstown might be one of these townships, and he's had several in the vicinage that just has said, you know what, this is silly. We're just going to dismiss the litigation and kind of just go our own way and not bother with affordable housing, not bother with fair share. Not that we can't continue to promote it, not that you won't continue as you get commercial development. There's a statutory 2.5% affordable housing development fee that will go into a fund. So we can continue to do what we do, but we would really just dismiss the litigation. Theoretically, at that point, we would be, quote, exposed to a builder's remedy lawsuit, which is the whole basis of ever pursuing this protection to start with. But again, as Judge Miller kind of hinted to me, and from my perspective, and it might be yours, although you can choose, the idea of any developer targeting Blairstown for any type of high-density development with the lack of infrastructure we have, I think is fantasy. So you guys are going to have to decide which way you want to go. But my preliminary advice to you would be to just let it go.
Kevin, there was a board township land use resolution which was memorialized on August 21st, 2017, approved and memorialized September 18th, 2017. That was from the land use board. And then we did a resolution here on September 13th, 2017, which was also memorializing this. The court's review and approval of the settlement agreement is reflected in an order of fairness and preliminary compliance hearing signed by Honorable Thomas C. Miller.
Yeah. Although we never did actually remind, he actually...
I don't know if you want these, because the overlay was with it also.
Well, but the point is, Joanna, is that I tried to explain tonight, maybe not being articulate enough, but yes, Jessica Colwell, who we hired, did an overlay. I think she even did some draft design standards for that overlay, and that was referenced in the settlement agreement. But what we have not done, what the settlement, okay, here it is, but it's not the law of the land until it ends up in our code book, and we have never done that. In other words, we have never taken the step to have the land use board adopt the ordinance, adopt the design standards. Our maps have never been updated. So we kind of stopped partway through. And that's what I'm suggesting.
That's what Linda
we probably
said.
take a hard look. Do we bother finishing that up? under circumstances where I don't see sewer anywhere in the near, long, or short-term future of this town. I think that train has left the station, it seems to me. So if we're not going to have infrastructure, we might want to decide it's not even worth trying to get the protection of the
Then
court.
is that why when the resolutions were done, it was not followed through to an ordinance then? Because we knew it wasn't going to happen.
Those things all happened at the end of 2017. The
Right.
actual fairness hearing before Judge Miller was with my successor in 2018, and actually that wasn't perfected by, an order was supposed to have been prepared and uploaded. That actually wasn't done, so we really never even got the order of protection. For whatever reason, the ball was dropped in that regard, and Judge Miller said, look, if you do want the settlement, then we're going to have to get that order uploaded, and we'll go from there. But I'll put this in a more detailed written memo for you guys, and then at some point we're going to have a discussion as a group, and hopefully everybody will be here at that point and see what you guys want to do.
I know Debbie spoke to Roger Thomas.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to call you. Did you speak to Roger Thomas
He
about
sent me
this?
an email back that he's going to call me. He hasn't caught up with me yet.
Okay,
I'll
because
talk
he
about it.
felt that would have been done at that point in time back in 2017.
Yeah. I mean, if it was done, it would be in your code book, and it's not there. And yeah, I think the last update to your zoning map in the code book, at least the one I'm looking at, is a while ago. So that's where we are.
We have a hand.
Is this applicable only to sewer and water funded or provided by the township? And the reason why I ask is because we had a real estate developer come before the land use board meeting, our last meeting, and actually propose a 125-unit development on a 9-acre parcel on Route 94. Consequently, this individual was also interested in a 125-unit on landmark property, which you guys thankfully received. But so,
I mean, you could
apply to that to personally owned densely populated units or just county?
Well, here's the issue. You know, let's say we went ahead and did the village overlay zone. I think candidly we would all suggest, again, without the potential for sewer, that's really a zone that's not able to be utilized by anybody. So now somebody comes in like this private developer and says, hey, I've got a different tract in town. I have a 9-acre tract here or a 10-acre tract there. I'm willing to invest the money for an on-site discharge to groundwater system and put up a high-density development, and I'll give you a 20% set-aside. Regardless of whether or not we have this settlement, in my opinion, the court's going to make us modify that settlement to require, to permit that anyway. Because the concept has always been under the law, and this is a constitutional obligation that the Supreme Court said we all have, it's a realistic opportunity. So, you know, if you got a developer that came in there like that and said, hey, I'm ready to put a shovel in the ground, now I'm skeptical of that anyway. Those are very expensive projects, and they would have to get DEP approval, to have a sewer service amendment. There's a lot of heavy
Very
lifting.
skeptical.
A lot of heavy lifting involved with a project like that, but my general point is that's kind of where my view is. I'm not, in my opinion, it's not worth putting something to paper that's unrealistic, because it's not going to hold weight if some developer did happen to come in and say, I have an actual realistic plan. The court would make us modify the plan anyway. So why involve the court? Why involve fair share? I'd rather keep local control, keep as much self-control as we can, and if some developer comes in like that, negotiate directly with them. That's just my 2 cents on it after 30 years of fooling around with this. And again, there were endless millions of dollars wasted on these lawsuits. And I'm sure, Walter, I mean, the statewide reports from the Fair Shares expert were the size of 2 New York City phone books. And then, if you recall, this township was part of a multi-group of townships that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars getting our own telephone book study. But we're not a high target value area here. They're interested more in the Clinton townships and the Somerville area, and where there is infrastructure and there is sewer and there is all that. Those people, have to do some serious planning to make sure they're protected. Out here,
Look what they did to Hillsborough.
exactly.
Perfect, that's a good example.
We're not going to be that.
Right.
We're going to go through durational adjustment after durational adjustment, meaning you don't have the infrastructure. But we'll take a hard look at it. I'll detail this more in a memo, but I did want to let you know that I had a conference call with Judge Miller today, and he'll be looking for us to make some of these types of decisions over the next 60 days or so.
So he's retiring, I hear you.
He is retired, but he's being recalled just for these. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
From our township clerk, Kristen, you have anything for us?
I do. We are going to have a paper shredding event.
Oh, good, when?
I'm going to tell you. It's going to be April 9th. It's on a Saturday. I didn't feel that doing it during the weekday was very successful, so I'll be coming in on a Saturday so we can do it from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's the normal 2 boxes, 20 pounds.
That's it?
No.
Oh, you're waiting for us?
I was just waiting for Walter to be done talking.
Waiting for the children to stop.
Also, I would like to schedule the townwide cleanup, and I'm asking if we want to change it this year. Because last year we did it in the fall. Just your thought. It's always been in the fall, but we always did it around the Blair Women's Club, and they don't have it anymore.
They're not doing it anymore?
But this is still vouchers and we bring it to them.
I just didn't know if you had any thoughts on that. A lot of the townships do it in the springtime.
Did we talk to, but Eric has, the DPW have some role in this.
Eric does not care when we do it because Eric specifically said to me that it doesn't matter because they do it on their own time for the other guys, because they only do it for the seniors. Right. It doesn't matter to me because we never line up with the townwide cleanup at the dump, quote unquote. So just a thought, I didn't know if you wanted to try it out, something different, or leave it.
Honestly, I hate waiting for almost the end of the year.
Me too. I like the spring.
Yeah, when you're trying to clean stuff up and get ready for warmer weather, it's nice to have it.
I'll be more in favor of that actually in the spring if we can, that'll get us to move on our newsletter a little bit more.
That's the shredding event.
No. But so if we can include that in the newsletter too, that we'll really get a lot of participation.
I will see that if we can get that sooner, yes.
Thank you.
That'd be fine. And that's it.
Kristen, you have to, I was on our website, and March 23rd meeting is still on there, and I think we canceled that.
I will put canceled next to it.
I want to put that, just mark that on there.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Orcutt.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple of things. On the DPW side of things, the guys did complete doing that hook lift mounting to the rescue Mack truck that we bought from the ambulance corps, and that's going to be an extremely versatile piece of equipment for the DPW. It basically makes a roll-off of one of our dump trucks. And we're going to buy a bunch of different bodies. We can bring our own trash over to the landfill, things of that nature.
That can be also used as a plow truck, correct?
Yeah, it is a plow truck. Oh, yeah, it is a plow truck. And it's going to be useful we're going to probably make a body for it so we can do our own wood chipping right into the truck, so it's not like blown into a dump body. There's it's going to be very useful. The guys are really excited about having that piece of equipment around.
And it never left the town.
Right, still stayed here. I do need some action tonight, though, on approving up to 3 seasonal laborers, up to $15 an hour each, up to, for the DPW.
How many do we normally have?
2 to 3. Yeah, so up to 3. It's
lawn mowing guys.
Yeah, lawn mowing. It's mostly for lawn maintenance, mostly.
At 15, though?
Yeah.
Up to 15. Well, it says $7.50 to $15. Nobody's getting $7.50 an hour in this world.
You might not get anybody at 15.
I thought we paid more than that.
No, I think it was 15 last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that needs to be addressed.
Why do you want? We can't.
Burger King's doing 17.
You can go work at Target for less than.
I know.
More than
but most of these guys, not all, but some are retired, and they just, this is just some.
We had trouble finding last year.
Oh, I know.
Well, that was Eric's suggestion. I mean, if you guys feel that we should bump it to like 1750.
Eric is the boss. He's hiring. He knows what people.
If he can't find anybody for 15, but
up to 17.
1750. Yeah, 17.
Okay.
Up to 17. So up to 3 guys, up to $17 an hour.
Is it in the budget?
It is.
Yeah.
Or it'll be subject to Christine's machinations inside the DPW operating expense budget. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second. We have a roll call, Kristen.
Mr. Orcott?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Valkenburg?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Under finance, we had our budget meeting, which anybody on YouTube watching this could go back and look at that meeting, a very informative meeting. There's certainly going to be a municipal tax increase this year, and we don't want that to be a surprise to anyone. But there was some discussion and some dissension about what this would mean to this town as far as our tax rate. And I'm pretty proud of the fact that this town still enjoys the lowest tax rate in Warren County, municipal tax rate in Warren County, municipal levy. In fact, we are the lowest municipal tax rate in Sussex and Warren County in 2021. In 2022, we'll have only one town in Warren County, which is White Township, and one town in Sussex County, which is Branchville, that will have lower municipal tax rates, assuming no other towns are lowering their tax rates, which I don't see that happening. And of course, neither White Township or Branchville have a police department. That's an overriding cost of something that we do here in Blairstown, provide that service here, and it's fairly expensive, about $1.6 million a year. And I just wanted to make that very clear. Also, on the overall tax rate, Blairstown in 2021 had the 3rd lowest tax rate in Warren County. And we have the lowest municipal tax rate in Warren County, which I just said. So there was some discussion. Joanne was saying, Joanne was questioning that, and this is factual stuff that I got from the CFO from the towns, from all the towns. So we're probably going to be the 2nd lowest tax rate in Warren County next year, maybe the 3rd lowest, even after we do our tax increase here. And of course, we have no control over the school budgets or the county budget, but we're still the best deal, one of the very best deals in Warren County and Sussex County, for that matter.
Okay.
And I think, did we? Not to bring up a subject, but did we miss the chicken ordinance? I thought David, wasn't David, or did David?
No. It was going to be brought up in public comment, I was told. That's what I was told.
But it's an ordinance we have to introduce, no?
Well, we're not introducing tonight. Clearly, we're not doing that. But David, I just want everybody to have, everybody looked at it. It was David Deal had kind of, I don't know if he forwarded it to you yet, because we're not doing anything until Kevin goes through it, but we need to make a decision whether we're going to go forward with it, and we're not going to do it tonight. But at the next meeting, we should be prepared to say, yeah, we're going to take up the recommendation from the Land Use Board to revise our ordinance, which primarily deals with chickens, and
the rooster.
And no roosters in the village commercial village neighborhood.
How do you know what you get?
No, you have to.
How do you know?
You look up
if you get a rooster, the rooster has to go bye-bye.
We really get
It's
sidetracked.
not allowed in village neighborhood or village residential,
Correct.
from what I
Correct.
believe.
And chickens?
Chickens are allowed up to 6. It's based on age.
In town. I did read it.
Oh, you did?
I'm asking you.
And what about chickens? It allows chickens, yeah.
Allows chickens where? Everywhere?
Everywhere, but certain amount based on lot sizes.
I think
But
he
you
was
can have
coming
at
with a
least 6
song there.
chickens. Even if you're on a little tiny lot, you can have 6
Here a chick,
chickens.
there a chick.
You can have chickens in the village.
Yes, but no roosters.
there's problems with chickens, not just sound, you realize?
Right.
Understood.
Well, we'll talk about that when it's on the agenda.
Brings,
Right, it didn't make the agenda because...
It was never on the agenda. It was just
Okay.
something that was brought up that said that might
So-
be discussed.
I'll just say this. My next-door neighbor, when I moved in, I have a chicken coop on my property. I turned it into a shed, but when I moved in, he asked me, he's a farmer, he's passed on now, had tons of cows and other little things out there, but never had chickens. And he said, you got a chicken coop back there? I said, yeah. He goes, you're not going to get chickens, are you? I said, why? It might be funny. He goes, trust me, I've been doing this a long time. They bring rats. That was the first thing he told me. They bring rats. So if you're thinking about letting chickens into a high-density
Well, they're already
area...
there. It's not like there's no chickens there.
Well, then they shouldn't be there.
Well, that's why we're trying to perfect the ordinance.
Perfected.
I think Kristen, when she said it was you brought up the public section, it looked at me.
I'm
intended to. I did research. I reached out to zoning, animal control.
Animal control, yeah.
Well, before us at the land use board meeting, I was the only no vote on it. But I have something prepared, but I wanted to do it in April because I thought all 5 of you should be here for that.
And we don't have it in the agenda. So
And just for, also with Jeanette, the animal control officer made it seem to Linda and I that this was going to be addressed today. So now, thank you for explaining that. No, that's fine.
I'm curious to know the animal control officer's position on this.
He wrote a formal letter to me that I'm supposed to distribute to all of you. And again, I will do that before the next meeting.
Okay.
He wrote a letter to you to distribute to us?
Well, I inquired on something, and he sent me a formal letter on Township letterhead, and I said, well, this would probably be better utilized if you guys had it. It's not much I can do with that letter. But it explains his concerns about it. He lists 4 or 5 reasons why he's against it.
Could you ask him to pass that letter on to me, please?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll deal with that when it's on the agenda. Anything else?
No, that's enough. That's enough for me for tonight.
Okay. Committee Member Van Valkenburg.
Okay, Kevin, I wanted to ask you, because Debbie Waldron went to the Blairstown Historic Preservation Committee, and they did have the question about, has the attorney had a chance to review the donation agreement?
We met on that day, and I apologize. I dropped the ball on that, Joanne. I'll dig that out. I didn't, it's somewhere in my stack from the last meeting. I do remember
Right,
giving it to
okay.
you. I'll try to get that done for you.
They're also asking if we could get an answer from you in writing with the difference between a committee and a commission as it applies to the Blairstown Historic Preservation Committee.
Okay.
They asked if you have a document that they could use to have someone sign off for a temporary release of a historic item, for someone to borrow an item, some sort of a release form.
Okay.
And they are asking if they're trying to go for the designation for the bridge, and if that happens, they're going to need to do the bridge repair. So they are asking if they can solicit donations for the trust account for things like the bridge repair. If they get a grant, they still need additional funds to pay for the repairs, and that's what they would be using the money for. We just don't know if they're permitted to ask for funds.
Okay. I'll send you a memo, a revised form.
Okay.
Because I think you were concerned, if I understand the concern is that it's more of a case of people are donating things, and then it gets to the point where they no longer want to actually keep that, and they want some type of form to say, hey, either you reclaim your property or we will dispose of it.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
That's one of the forms. That was one of the forms. The other one is...
and they want a form also, if they have a piece from some, that they can actually loan that to a private resident to like display in their home or something?
Yep.
Okay.
Or
okay,
like the fire department too.
Yeah, we can like that, and I'll shoot you a little memo.
And I'll send you, if you want, I'll send you a copy of what they've been asking for.
Okay.
She just sent that to me. Okay, on the dam, where they still have not closed on the money. Remember, it's almost a year to the announcement about the money for the dam.
For the DEP?
Yeah, they still have not received that. but hopefully it will come.
We actually have the commissioner standing on the dam,
Yeah.
recorded him.
Yes,
We
yeah.
have him saying those
We
words.
get the money, 4.8, but they will not dish it out. They'll give it to us. All right, and then I just wanted to let you know that through the real estate, there is a bill out there allowing that the Real Estate Commission is supporting, allows municipalities, and I only bring up what's appropriate for municipalities, allows municipalities to establish loan programs to fund replacement of lead service lines. So that's out there. It's in the Assembly right now. Introduced in Assembly and reference to Assembly Environmental and Solid Waste Committee. So that could be something that's coming down the line. I don't know where that money would be coming from, but it's into the municipalities. And that's really it right now.
Okay.
All right, let's back up a second then on one of the things you brought up about the difference between a committee and a commission. I'm not quite understanding why Kevin's researching that. Maybe you could give us a little backup on that?
Yeah, and that is, again, going back to one of the members having to, or
Well,
told she had.
I'm sorry, Joanne.
That's okay.
I mean, I was happy to put that in writing, but I mean, generically speaking, the primary difference is a commission is a statutory body, a committee is an advisory body.
Right.
When you have a land use application down to your land use board, if you actually have a formal historic commission, it's supposed to go there for a once through, and then a comment comes back. If you're an advisory committee, you don't need to follow that process. I mean, a land use board can suggest it, but you can't mandate it. So
Our ordinance says it.
those are just some of the differences between a formal, it's like having an environmental committee versus an environmental commission. One has actual statutory authority with
Right.
specific statutory
Correct.
responsibilities, particularly when it comes to reviewing land use applications and so on and so forth. The other is simply, really candidly, a group of volunteers dedicated to a specific purpose. That's really.
I'm asking, they're asking, so I'm asking.
I'll lay it out for you guys.
Okay.
I'll cite the statute, I'll get it all for you, just so you can have something right.
And in our ordinance, it does say that all things in consideration, that were in consideration of the commission also apply to committee, because we did change at one point from commission to committee. And it said all the same rules still apply. So I think that's what they're...
And the part that you don't know about, Kevin, is that Roger already weighed in on this and gave his legal opinion on this as it pertains to the land use board. I think that's what Joanna's referring to. She's not saying that, but I think that's what she's referring to.
I didn't hear that.
But could you?
That.
But, so Roger's weighed in on this already, on this issue, and given his opinion, so we probably shouldn't have contradicting opinions on it.
Well, but I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
I both are pretty familiar with land use, so I assume we're going to be generally coming from the same point of view.
Well, my point is, you shouldn't waste a lot of time on it.
He was also going by what we already have on the books.
You got me on retainer, it's not costing me.
Thank you.
I'll do it again.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. All I have to cover is that our 11th hour bond has been set in stone for our capital fund balance, or I should say the large bond that we went out for, almost what, 6 million?
Around there.
Yeah. And we were waiting to see what the interest rate would be, and it's a pretty darn good one considering what's happening with our economy. The bond was awarded to Roosevelt and Cross with an interest rate of 2.115529, and we'll have a $188,820 premium.
What was the number again?
$188,820 premium, and the interest rate is 2.115529. We received 4 bids with the interest rates going from that 2.11 to a 2.32. And we jumped on that 2.1. This will not fluctuate. That will be good for until the bond matures in 2032. It's a 10-year for the general bonds, and that will get rid of all of this debt that we've been dragging behind us and accumulating over the years, and also bring our capital fund balance up, which, as you know, has been depleting, not even slowly. I can't even say slowly. I think when you first started talking about this, we still had about $740,000 in the bank. We had over $1 million not that long ago. We're down to 4 something at this point. So this was a much needed thing. Now we have a very set plan to pay this money back, and with that municipal tax increase, it will allow us to do that and get ourselves out of hot water. We can also fully fund a capital project if we find ourselves needing more revenue. We're not going to have to keep borrowing, which is a really, really nice thing. Our closing date will be Thursday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day. Our final maturity dates, general bonds will be 2032, 10 years, which goes by awfully fast. Our water bonds, 2036. Our refinanced bonds, 2028, and refunding open space by 2023. And that was the good news of the day. That was real 11th hour stuff. I think I was here at like 3 o'clock and I was handed that. So that's going to take care of us. And, you know, we should also say that this tax increase that we keep talking about will pretty much guarantee that we are at a flat municipal tax rate for the next 5 years. We are not going to have to increase our municipal tax once we do this, and we will be putting ourselves back into the good shape and on the right track to responsible spending for years to come. So it's a very good thing we've gotten done there.
Did you get this from Mooney today?
Yep.
Did he say anything about the?
They won't know that till Monday.
The state aid?
No, the state aid still, they're still dragging their heels.
He didn't say anything in his.
He said he still has not heard anything
Nope.
from the state aid.
That's why they're trying to dissect the budget and try.
Yeah. We know we're getting our state aid, as we always have, in the same amount, but as we've hoped, the state, the state has hinted that we will be getting a little more. Nothing on it today yet.
They think maybe Monday.
Yeah. And that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything to bring before the committee before we adjourn? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We have